180,000 miles on this Cayenne, and it needs $13,000 in repairs. Let's get started. You heard that right? $13,000 estimated in repairs. We're still waiting on the customer for the okay. It's almost as much as this entire vehicle is worth. It's not a standard Cayenne. It is the Turbo S model, and it even has ceramic brakes on it. The carbon ceramic rotors. Everything on this is more expensive even than a normal Cayenne. And some of the parts are really hard to find. We'll take a look around this, and then we're going to dive into why is it 13 grand and how most of it is just the parts. One thing we can see right off the bat is the paint is starting to fade on the front here by the emblem. At least the clear coat is. But the headlights are still clear, luckily. It does have some really nice wheels on it, though. These are 21s, and as you can see through the wheels there, those are the carbon ceramic brakes. Super, super expensive. The paint on this side actually looks decent. It looks nice. And one thing you don't see right now is after it sits for about 6 or 8 hours, this corner right here, and even in the rear a little bit, will be almost completely deflated. It has a pretty bad air spring leak. As we go around the back, you can see it is the Cayenne Turbo S. These are very quick. It has exhaust. Stick out pretty far, even for stock. That's a good 2 inches almost sticking out. But down that side, it's nice. It's not crashed or banged up or anything. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here we have our 4.8 liter V8 turbocharged. This engine is putting out 550 horsepower and roughly 550 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of power. This thing is quick. But it is very tight in the engine bay. There's all these panels and things. If you really want to dive in and start working on it, you have to start pulling plastic panels. And you can see over the years, mechanics in the past at other shops have been in here and they've lost clips and lost things. I've seen that a lot on the Cayennes. It seems like those clips can never stay put. This has some nice carbon fiber little panels there. Lots of power out of this thing. It does have an issue though with the oil pressure. When it's warmed up, it'll actually just go to 0 pounds of pressure. But the engine's running fine. There's no clattering. Danielson actually tracked it down to a bad oil pressure sending unit. When it finally gets warmed up, it just shuts down and turns off. So luckily we don't have some major issue in the engine going on. We'll get that replaced, but it isn't a quick 30-minute job. It's kind of involved. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on under the engine. It actually runs fine, drives fine as far as that's concerned. It's actually not doing too bad for 180,000 miles if that's all it needs. I can't remember the exact estimates, $400 or $500 with labor and parts for the oil pressure sending unit, but it has something else wrong that is stupid expensive. When Danielson was scanning for codes with the scan tool, he did find catalyst efficiency below threshold, bank 1 and bank 2. So that means both sides of the engine catalytic converters are dead. Here's a picture of what it's going to cost for a set of those with shipping and everything involved and sales tax. 5 grand for a set of cats. Now, if you get the non-turbo version, they're way cheaper. But the specific turbo version, which I can only find through getting Fab Speed parts, 5 grand. That's not the labor. We didn't even add the labor yet. Even that alone is 5 or 6 hours of labor. It's thousands and thousands of dollars just to solve the catalytic converter problem. So that 13 grand estimate I gave you already is almost half of it. It's just the catalytic converters. Let's go ahead and jump into the interior and let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around.
There you have it. 181,159 miles. Whew, that's a lot for a little Porsche, but let's go ahead and take our hand off that light so we can see what the actual gauge cluster looks like. I love the concentric circles kind of wrapping around. We can see there's that scary oil pressure light over there. That would be scary just to see that poof, go away. But with this many miles, it's in really good shape. The leather is in good shape. There's no breaks in the stitching or anything. As you look at our center section, you'll see that we have a very large infotainment system. We have some simple little push button kind of slider ups for our controls. We have a lovely gear selector there and lots of controls for how you want the suspension and how you want the car to perform. This does come with a rather small armrest in our center section, but does have two sections. In the top one, there we go. That's just his insurance information and just some of the tagging info as well. The bottom section opens up to a larger spot, which has our aux cords and our USB connections, and that's basically what's in here. But the leather's in good shape on the top side, so that's looking nice. The seats are two-tone with dark leather on the side with a lighter dove gray in the center. You can see a little bit of a kind of a staining on them. They probably just need some cleaning, but again, after 181,000 miles, I would kind of anticipate maybe seeing some wear. As you look at our door card, you see that we have more of that two-tone leather going on, but we also have some of that carbon fiber showing up again as well, which also does wrap around above that glove box. But again, everything's in great shape. I don't see any major tears, rips, or problems there. In the back seat, you'll see that we also have that two-tone going on with our light gray in that center section, and we have a very large sunshade, which has probably kept that dash looking as good as it does. As we look at our headliner, yeah, it's looking a little saggy. The Alcantara is not quite so attached. However, it's not terribly low, and it can still be quite nice to sit back there without having it, rearranging your hair. Let's get to our steering wheel. You see we have lots of different controls for everything under the sun. Under here we've got our lovely Porsche emblem in the center, and we have some nice little Tiptronic switches, kind of floppy paddles on the front side, so this can make it a little more fun to drive with all that 550 horsepower, but nonetheless, this has looked really good inside. Let's get this on the lift and see what else is so expensive. Nothing needs to be replaced in here.
Danielson did find minor seepages here or there, but no serious leaks, nothing really warranting a big teardown, so we got lucky there. One thing we're going to fix while it's here is we found this at some point has hit something or broke and it needs to be reattached. So we will be reattaching that. Here's our oil pan, here's our front differential. Everything seems pretty dry there. Our brakes, again, carbon ceramics, are doing pretty good in the front. Our CV shaft is good. We can see our air shocks up above are some original OEM Porsche air struts. Everything else looks pretty good, no serious leaks or anything. On this side, the brakes look good, CV shaft, everything looks good, sway bar link is good. But this doesn't have the OEM Porsche strut, it has an R0 strut that's been replaced at some point in the past, and it is currently the one that is leaking the worst. With air suspension, whether it be an old Range Rover or a Porsche Cayenne, any vehicle with air struts, you really should replace them in pairs. This one has 180,000 miles on it. It's very likely it may need all four. Let's keep on going with our inspection here. So here we have our rear cats, but unfortunately this has four cats. We're only seeing these two here, and then there's our drive shaft here, which is in good shape. But let's take a look through here. And there's the forward cat. It's bolted directly to the back of the turbo. These are so expensive. I went through Worldpac, I went through several other suppliers, even the dealer, and they're like, those are on back order indefinitely, or we discontinued, we don't have them. There's a reason why FabSpeed makes them now, because they know there's a market there, and they also have the old saying that we see on Marketplace, I know what I got. They know what they got. That's why they're asking $5 grand for a set of cats. Unfortunately, that's really the only way to fix the check engine light issue. If you want the light to go away and be legal, these will have to be replaced, both pipes. Our transmission is dry, no leaks going on there. Our transfer case is also dry, no serious issues going on there. Drive shaft seems fine. Here's our exhaust going out the back. Then we come to the back wheels, where the pads on these ceramic brakes are very thin in the back. So the rotors don't need to be replaced, which thank God, because those are another stupid expensive item. But the pads do need to be replaced. Our CV boots are good. Again, we have our stock air spring in the back here. Stock air spring in the back over here as well. CV boots are good. Everything else actually looks pretty decent. Let's get this thing on the ground. So we see there's a leak going on with the air suspension. If you let it sit for a while, it starts leaning. The worst culprit is actually the R-knot replacement strut. Now I'm not knocking R-knot, but really with 180,000 miles, I'll let you guys guess in the comments, when's the next one going to pop? Tomorrow? Next week? 2 years from now? How do you know? At this age, really, what it needs is all 4 air struts replaced. Because if we just do the one, you know what's going to happen. You'll take it home, and then this one will blow. And then you replace that one, and then one of the back ones will blow. You know, I thought we had this handled. The only way to truly handle it, which by the way, these air struts are wear items. At a certain amount of time, you're just supposed to replace them. You're not supposed to wait till they pop. You're supposed to replace them at a certain amount of miles, a certain amount of time. The correct OEM struts are $1,500 per wheel. All 4 of them together is $6 grand, just in parts.
Okay, Wizard, do they give another option like the coilovers, springs like they do on a Mercedes?
They do have some coilover options, but I never advise anyone on any vehicle to bypass the original air suspension system because they ride so good and the vehicle's designed to have this system on it. We've done that for people in the past. I actually had a 2003 Range Rover that I did as well. I converted it to springs. I hated it. I thought it was absolute garbage. It rode like a Ford Ranger. It was terrible. It's worth it to put the money and fix it right and do it right. So, $6 grand just for struts, $5 grand just for catalytic converters, and then we got all the labor involved, $13,000 to get this thing sorted out. That's a lot of money. It's possible he may want to go ahead and just do the one strut and replace that one, but we will definitely put a annotation on the ticket. The other struts could go at any moment. The ones it really needs while it's here is the oil pressure sending unit and that air leak solve so it stops leaning. But after years of experience, you know the customer's not going to be happy, even if they think they're getting a cheaper bill, which they own the car, they decide what's done to it. But I decide what happens here in the shop to their car because it all falls back on me if it doesn't go as planned. Just like a timing belt and a water pump on a Honda or a Volkswagen. I've actually had customers say, just do the belt, leave the water pump alone. You know what I say? Hell no, then we're not doing the job. Mrs. Wizard actually took a call from a customer this week and the customer was like, why is that? Because we both know as gearheads, as soon as you get that timing belt replaced, in 2 months the water pump's going to start leaking and the customer's going to be pissed. Why didn't you tell me about this? That comes from years of experience. I know, you're getting the timing belt and the water pump, or don't bring your car here. It saves a headache for everyone involved. And it only adds a couple $100 to the bill. The labor's the same actually. You're really not saving by trying to do little deletion of parts here and there. You think you're saving money, you're actually not. So yes, $13,000 to sort this out. You can almost go buy another one of these for that much money, probably 15, 16. Is it worth it? Well, let the customer decide. If they say do it all, I'd be happy to do it all. It's a really cool ride. I like these. They're really cool vehicles. But it's almost at that line where you could literally mechanically total this vehicle. So let me know in the comments, guys. This is your rig right here, and you got $13,000 worth of work. Would you do it? Let us know. Is it worth it? Make sure not to forget about Can You Believe That, our new channel, which there's a link in the description for that. And also, any of the tools we use in the shop is listed on our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. Tools we use on this, right, really any car that we use in the shop, is actually for sale there. You guys could purchase the same tools we use, and we get a small cut if you purchase anything. We'd appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's so many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.